This is Swiss and Chips, your British guide to Switzerland.
Hello and welcome to Swiss and Chips. My name is Simon.
And I'm Joe.
And today we're going to talk about something very exciting, the past.
That's not really selling it, I have to say.
Sounds boring. We are going to talk about, Joe moved here about a decade ago, 10, 12 years ago. 12.
11.
11
and
years
a
ago.
half.
There you go. You make a compromise between 10 and 12. And we're going to talk about your experience. So I'll interview you.
Cool, I'm ready. Grill me.
Investigative. Investigative journalism.
Okay, good.
And we talk a little bit about how it was when you came here and, this and that. Let's see how it goes. And maybe it's going to be in 2 parts. Depends how long you are going to talk.
Okay, good. Well, I could go on for a long time about this.
Not to forget, at the end of this, I've got an exciting word, a Swiss word.
Ah, yes. Every episode, in case you're listening for the first time, in every episode we share a Swiss-German word with you. And the goal is that by the end of the year, you can say an extremely long and weird Swiss-German sentence.
Yes. Starting with shocky chop,
Yeah.
which we talked about some episodes ago. Right. Let's dive right into it. The first question for you. As we said, you moved here 11 and a half years ago. What's the first thing you remember?
Oh, yes. So the thing is, I don't have some sort of memory of stepping off the plane. I have a memory of going to the airport in England, but after that, it all went a bit fuzzy. Maybe they gave me some drugs on the airplane.
Well, probably England was a bit fuzzy, like foggy fuzzy.
No.
And then Switzerland, nice weather.
No, I mean, I think I've mentioned it before in our podcast. I was very disappointed that everybody didn't live in wooden chalets. Like I genuinely thought that there would be many more wooden houses here in Switzerland.
Yeah.
But that's really only in sort of mountain villages and what have you. There's a few here and there.
Yes.
But mostly there's quite a lot of concrete.
Here in the big cities, we live in big blocks, grey.
Yeah, we're in Bern, by the way.
But you knew the difference between Switzerland and Sweden. You knew where you're flying to, for example.
That I was very much aware of. I had looked it up on the map just to be on the safe side.
You knew how big it is roughly and what
how
to
big it is.
expect,
The size, I think I was very aware of, very small. The other thing was the languages. I thought that everybody would be able to speak 4 languages, but I didn't realize it was split into these language
All
regions.
of us do. Ciao, ciao. Oui.
And
Voilà.
Romansh.
Ciao, mis cars pignets.
Is that real?
Obviously.
Okay. Well, anyway. Yeah, so that was the sort of...
No, not everyone does.
No, not everybody does. No. But a surprising amount of people can speak quite a few of the Swiss languages and very well. That's impressive.
Yeah, usually German and French or something like that and English.
Yeah.
Anyway, so you can't even remember the Alphorn.
Oh, at the airport.
At the airport, yes.
The thing is, I've seen and heard that so many times now, I couldn't remember the first time I saw it.
Yeah. Something like that.
If you've been to Zurich Airport, you know what we're talking about.
Yeah,
it's not so much
my sound effects.
No one falls over. Don't be shy, unleash that Swiss sound.
It's like this, isn't it?
It is, yeah. They also throw flags.
There you go. So you arrived, you don't remember anything. That
sounds stupid, but I mean, it's a vague memory of being at the airport. Okay. I can't really remember that.
So you really don't have like any memory of like the first things or where you've been? Or, what's the first thing you can remember?
God, this is difficult, to pinpoint a specific thing that happened 11 years ago. It's actually much harder than I thought.
We have met much later, otherwise it would be me.
Now I know where the memory's foggy.
There you go, it's me.
I went to Geneva. That's why it's confusing. Okay. I'm looking for the memory of Zurich.
You flew to Geneva. That's why you can't remember the Alphorn.
Oh, it's all coming together. It's because the company I was working for at the time, they were mainly based in Geneva. I worked for them in Zurich. So when I came to Switzerland, I flew to Geneva first, and I lived in a hotel in Geneva for about a month. That was what was weird about it. And now I remember, it's all coming back. I caught a cold on the plane, which is very unfortunate, and potentially also from the air conditioning in the hotel. Yeah. And a very nice colleague of mine at the time bought me my first ever bottle of, what's it called? Neo-Citran.
Neo-Citran.
And said, this will sort you out. I was like, this is extremely strong stuff.
Neo-Citran is medicine for
colds.
For a cold, yeah.
But it's quite strong. It's got some kind of crazy Swiss ingredient in it. That left a big impression on me. It does, yeah.
No, I didn't know.
Wouldn't be legal in 50 countries, that kind of thing.
No, it's basically the temperature is going down, your body temperature, if you've got a fever, and it's a painkiller and stuff.
It's surprisingly strong for a cold medicine.
Yeah, it's good anyway.
There you go.
Try it.
Neocitran.
If you're ill. Not otherwise. Anyway, good. So you are in Geneva. If you think back to that person, is there anything you would do differently? Or is there anything you would recommend to that person now that you are a decade older?
Oh, thanks very much for pointing that out.
Yeah, now that you are already 30, almost.
Very funny. So I don't think I would do something differently, to be honest. I think I really tried to take every opportunity that came along, and that was really important because it was quite difficult to meet people at first, and it took me a little while to realize that. But once I did, I went to all the different networking events, groups, took up every invitation that I was given, went to all sorts of things and, got to meet people and know the country and find out more about it and so on. So that's exactly what I would do. I maybe would have done it a week earlier.
Okay, so your thing is, your recommendation would be take every opportunity to meet people.
Yeah,
basically.
Dive right in.
Okay.
No staying at home and watching TV, unless you're finding out about the Weather Channel, for example, in Switzerland, which is very interesting on a Saturday morning.
It's not a Weather Channel.
Well, it's not a Weather Channel, it's SRF1, isn't it? Where you can watch the webcams of all the different mountain regions. I recommend that. That's an early memory. I found that.
Quite a traditional thing to do on Sunday morning to see the different skiing regions and the weather before you head off.
It's really nice, yeah.
Okay.
I love that.
Good. And before you arrived in Switzerland, did you have any prejudice about Switzerland or Swiss people?
Well, I probably...
which ones did turn out to be true?
Okay. I probably speak for most British people, and this is a very stereotypical answer I'm giving. But anyway, we don't know a lot about Switzerland unless we've been skiing here, which I hadn't. The only things that you hear in kind of popular discourse or in the newspapers about Switzerland are things to do with hiding money or crazy things that happen.
Which all turned to be true.
There was, didn't the Swiss People's Party have a goat as a mascot once? And it got stolen and painted.
Yeah.
For example, that's a story that would make the British news.
Okay.
So you can imagine the kind of things we think about Switzerland.
Yes.
That's all I knew. Lots of money, they hide it, they live in wooden houses and they speak loads of languages.
And are slightly racist. Is that what you wanted to say?
That news hadn't reached me then.
Okay.
And it also wasn't true. So that was good.
Did you experience some racist?
Yeah, I mean, not really racism, but people have treated me a bit mean on occasion for not being Swiss, I would say. That sometimes people have been pretty aggressive, but this is really a minority of things. Most people have been extremely friendly, but some people have been rude. I think the thing is, until I knew you, I wasn't extremely aware that they were being rude unless they were being very rude. Now I know more.
Okay, so you can't give an example.
There was this one time, which is one of my... filed under my big bad memories of Switzerland, where I was trying to get the boat across the lake in Zurich because I used to finish work really early. Well, really early, because I started really early. I'd finish at lunchtime.
Yeah,
so in the afternoon, I
could
go exploring.
Somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So you take the boat. And I was asking the man at the ticket office in, basic-ish German at this point, I guess it was in my first year, which platform type thing, which pier do I get the boat from? And he just kept saying the same thing to me, which was not a number of a platform or a pier. And I was saying, I just need to know where to get the boat from. And he was saying something completely else. And I was like, this is an absolute nightmare because now I can't get it and I don't know where it's going from. And he was just shouting at me at that point. And I just thought, okay, I'm done. I'm going to go and try and find some sign or I don't know what.
There you go. Idiots exist everywhere. Also in Switzerland,
They do,
we are no exception there.
Yeah.
Right. I've got many, many more questions.
Yeah.
I think we split it in two parts. So
okay.
We are heading off slowly to the Swiss word. But before that, I would like to know one more thing, which is now it's 11 and a half years. When did you realize that you stay longer, or did you you didn't plan to stay for that long when you moved here? So was there a point where you thought, I think this is going my life is going in a different direction, something like that? Or is it just all of a sudden you thought, oh, it's 10 years?
Yeah. So when I first came, I just planned to stay for a year or so, earn some money, and then move back home, move here, become a millionaire, go home and buy a mansion.
What do you do?
That was the idea. But what happened was after about 3 years, basically it was very interesting when I moved here. Super interesting, loads of things and people to see, so I stayed.
Exciting stuff to see, yeah.
Yeah, very interesting. And after about 3 years, the company I was working for sort of ceased to exist in its as then form. So I lost my job. And at that point, I could have moved home. Basically, they were offering, you can either stay here and do retraining and so on, or you can go home. This was the deal at the time. And I decided to stay here. So that was really the turning point. I thought, I don't want to go home.
Okay. Was it a hard decision or was it, no, it's clear? Can you still remember?
I mean, I was in my 20s then. So it wasn't like, big decision, kids moving, school, selling a house or anything. It was really just, I have some IKEA furniture. I could keep it here. I could sell it and go home. It was a bit like that, really. So it wasn't extremely difficult. It was more sort of like, could I stay here and see what else happens? Or do I go home back to things that I used to know and sort of continue that life that I left? And I thought, I'll stay here and see what else can develop.
Okay. I think, what do you think is these type of expats? I think there are different type of expats. The ones that really come and say, I stay for 1 year and then I've got already plans when I'm coming back again. Like I study for a year or something.
That's true.
And then there are the other types that say, I moved there and, for a year or so. And I think they quite often ending up just staying.
Yeah. I mean, there's also the people who work for the big international companies and they get moved around every now and then.
Yeah.
So that happens a lot. But I think basically when I moved here and said, I'm just going to stay for a year or two, everyone I worked with and all the people I met said, we know that story. Yeah. So this happens to almost everyone.
Yeah. Or let's put it in different words. I don't know anyone who said, I moved here 20 years ago and already knew that I'm...
No, that's true. Yeah. Except... people who meet a Swiss abroad and then they move here with them, true. Married, and they basically come here to stay. Sometimes, obviously, that doesn't work out or they want to go to the other person's country, but they come with the intention to stay, I think, at least.
So if you are now abroad listening to this podcast and think like, I could maybe for a year or so, I could come to Switzerland, be aware that you might end up here.
Right. Especially if you like cheese. Yeah. Because there's a lot of that here.
Or chocolate.
A lot of that as well.
Right. Time for the Swiss word, which is this week, servela-promi.
I think that's 2 words.
No, it's one. Well, it's 2 words in 1 word.
We like that.
You write it together.
Oh, yeah. Okay, 1 word.
You know what it means by
I do.
now. So explain, please.
Well, a servela-promi, I believe we would translate into English as a B-list or perhaps Z-list celebrity.
Exactly.
Which means someone who's famous just because they're famous. Maybe like they've been on a reality TV show or they're just always at parties and being taken photos of, but they haven't really done anything.
Absolutely. There you go. And servela means?
Sausage.
The famous Swiss sausage. It's just not just any sausage. You can't say just sausage. This is like the sausage.
Yeah.
It's the queen of sausages.
Yes, and you can eat it raw or cooked.
Yeah, yes.
Rawish.
You can eat it raw or like cooked. You would cook it on a fire.
Yeah.
On a stick.
You can eat it cold. That's what we're trying to say.
Yes. Or you can also cut it and put it in a frying pan.
Yeah. Anyway, that's another episode.
And promi is celebrity. So famous sausage celebrity. That's how it's going to
I love that.
Right. So that was it for today. I hope you had some fun. And next week, I'm going to further investigate. I want to know more about your life, how you would compare lifestyles. How is life in Switzerland different, like at work, in your free time, and so on.
Cool. Looking forward to it.
Me too. Right, perfect. Great. So let's end it here. And thank you very much for listening. Don't forget to join our Facebook group, which is called Switzerland for English Speakers, or come to our website, which is called swissandchips.com.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Bye.